එන හැම දිනකටම තෙරුවන් සරණයි මහා සංඝරත්නයන් අවසරයි. අපි සාකච්ඡා කර ඉන්නේ මජ්ක්‍ධිම නිකායේ 115 වෙනි සූත්‍රය බහුධාතුක සූත්‍රය. ඒ සූත්‍රෙත් බොහොම විවාදාපන්න හරියක තමයි දැන් අපි ඉන්නේ. දැන් අපි බලමු අද මොකක් වෙයිද කියලා. හොඳයි.
Teruvan Saranaya, everybody, and with the permission of the Venerable Mahasangharatnaya. So we are just now in the middle of reading Sutta 115 of the middle and discourses the Bahudhatuka Sutta, or to do with many elements, discourse to do with many elements. And during the discussion, as we are reading, we came to this part to how one is skilled or experienced in what is possible and what is not, and especially this part is potentially very can trigger a lot of arguments going on, so we will see what happens.
දැන් මේ ගැන අටුවාව කියලා තියෙන එක දැන් ඒ කාරණා මේ කියන්නකො.
So because Venerable was not here yesterday, we came to this part where the Buddha says, the one that clearly knows that it is impossible that in this one world system, that female cannot become a Samma Sambuddha. That is not possible, but it is possible for a male to become a Samma Sambuddha. So somebody clearly knowing that is somebody that is also could be called skilled in what is possible and what is not. So we had some discussion about that yesterday already.
මේ කාරණා මේ විදිහටම වගේ අංගුත්තර ඒකක නිපාතෙත් තියෙනවා. අට්ඨාන පාළි කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා අංගුත්තර ඒකක නිපාතේ. ඒකෙත් මේ විදිහටම තියෙනවා.
So actually there is in the numbered sayings which is the Anguttara Nikaya, in the section on the ones, there is a section which is called like what is possible or what is not possible, and that in that section the same thing appears there, that it is not possible for a female to become a Samma Sambuddha.
ඒ වගේම අභිධර්ම පිටකේ විභංගප්පකරණේ කුද්දක වත්තු විභංගය කියලා පරිච්ඡේදයක් තියෙනවා. අන්නේ කුද්දක වත්තු විභංගයේත් මේ කාරණාව තියෙනවා මේ විදිහට.
So then one of the books of Abhidhamma called Vibhanga, probably kind of like exposition or something like that, has one chapter is called Kuddakavattu, would be something like minor or miscellaneous matters. So in that there is also this thing discussed there.
ඉතින් දැන් මේ ගැන මේ දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් සාකච්ඡා කරලා තියෙනවා මිලින්ද ප්‍රශ්නේ. මිලින්දු රජුරුවත් මේ ගැන අහලා තියෙනවා.
So then there is this popular book called Questions of Queen Melinda, and there is like he also asked Venerable Nagasena about this. Melinda. So there's Melinda Panya. So I heard in Burma they value it so much. Sometimes they put it as one part of the Kuddaka Nikaya, but it's like when Alexander the Great came to like northwest part of India, there was like ruling people left in that area, and one of them was called King Menander or something like that.
Menander in Sinhala.
Yeah, and he was very fond of philosophical discussions, and so he was discussing with all kind of religious and people and spiritual people and philosophers, and he usually defeated them in discussion. And then he met with Arahat monks, but they were not, even though they were Arahats, they were not like skilled enough in talking to satisfy him with his like he had questions and their answers were not satisfactory for them, but he had this connection with one other person from past lives where they were both monks in some previous Buddha's dispensation. Anyway, long story. So eventually he met this very like realized master called Venerable Nagasena, who had Patisambhida, he had these 4 Patisambhidas called sometimes analytical knowledges, but they are, as far as I understand, mostly to do how the Dhamma is applicable in the language part of it, like wording and like explaining and grammar and how to like synthesizing means like you are clever at how to put these things together. So this Nagasena, Venerable Nagasena met this King Menander, and the discussion is recorded in what is now called the Kings of King Milinda, because in Pali he's called Milinda, and so one of the questions was this one.
එයාගේ නෑ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි අර බුදුවරු දෙදෙනෙක් එක ලෝක ධාතුක උපදින්න බැරි මොකෝ කියන එක.
So with the previous, before we go to the male and female issue, if I call it that, there were two a little bit connected statements, like in one world system there cannot be two Samma Sambuddhas arising at one, like together. And then the same thing about the universal emperor, the Chakravarti. So this part seems that has been discussed by King Milinda.
දැන් ඔන්න බුදුවරු දෙදෙනෙක් එකපාර උපදින්න නැති කමට හේතු වශයෙන් දක්වලා තියෙනවා. බුදුවරු කියන්නේ ආශ්චර්යවත් මිනිස්සු. අන්නේ ආශ්චර්යමත් බව නැති වෙනවලු දෙදෙනෙක් එකපාරට පහළ වුණාම.
So like one of the reasons given is Samma Sambuddha must be kind of, let's say, completely amazing, we can say like unique person. And like if you know the origin of the word unique, you cannot have like unique too, because the word like unique means like there is one person like that.
ඉතින් ඒකේ තව විස්තර කරනවා බුදුවරු දෙන්නෙක් තුන් දෙනෙක් හතර දෙනෙක් පස් දෙනෙක් එකපාර ලෝකෙ බිහි වුණොත් එහෙම ඒ ආශ්චර්ය මනුෂ්‍ය කියන ගුණය බුදුන්ගේ අවලංගු වෙනවා.
So if there were 2, 3, 4, 6 or even more Buddhas, Samma Sambuddhas, the kind of amazingness of the Buddhas, or I would call it speciality of the Buddha would like decrease, right? So that's why always happens as well.
තව ඉතින් ඒ ගැන විස්තර කරනවා. එකම විහාරයක චෛත්‍යයන් දෙකක් තියෙනකොට හැබැයි චෛත්‍ය දෙකක් තිබුණායි කියලා මොකද පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න. එකම විහාරයක චෛත්‍ය දෙකක් වූ විටද ලාභයක් හෝ සත්කාරයක් හෝ මහත් නොවේ. භික්ෂූද බොහෝ බැවින් ආශ්චර්යයක් නොවේ. මෙසේ බුදුවරු ආශ්චර්ය. දැන් චෛත්‍ය දෙකක් තියෙන එක, භික්ෂූන් ගොඩක් ඉන්න එක, ඒක ආශ්චර්යයක් නෙවෙයි. හැබැයි බුදුවරු එක්කෙනෙක් ඉන්න එකේ ආශ්චර්යයක් තියෙනවා කියලා කියනවා.
So like they give example about 2 stupas being there in one temple does not mean increase of amazingness, but a kind of decrease of amazingness for each of the stupas.
ඒ වගේම ධර්ම දේශනාව පිළිබඳවත් එහෙම වෙනවා. එක බුදු කෙනෙකුත් සතර සතිපට්ඨාන දේශනා කරනවා, අනිත් බුදුත් සතර සතිපට්ඨාන දේශනා කරනවා. ඉතින් ධර්ම දේශනාවෙත් අයියෝ අපි අර බුදුන් ගෙනුත් ඇහුවා කියලා මිනිස්සුන්ට කියන්නලා ඕවා මොනවද අපි අහලා තියෙනවා.
So then another funny argument, they say, now let's say you, like you, when I say you, I mean like just like somebody goes to listen to the Buddha, and the Buddha teaches him about the 4 foundations of mindfulness, let's say. So then they say, okay, there's the other Buddha, let's go and listen to that one. So then they come to the next Buddha and he says, oh, there are these 4 foundations of mindfulness. So then the listeners might be like, what is this? They are talking about the same things.
ඊට පස්සේ මේ ශ්‍රාවකයන්ගෙත් ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. අපේ බුදුන් තමයි ලස්සන, අපේ බුදුන් තමයි කටහඬ මිහිරි, අපේ බුදුන් තමයි ගොඩක් පින්වන්ත ගගා ශ්‍රාවකයොත් බෙදෙනවලු දෙකට.
So then the other argument I didn't get, maybe you will get it. So like the disciples say our Buddha is the beautiful one with sweet voice and very virtuous and so on.
Other Buddha is not.
Like what is implied, they say that the other is not.
වාද කරනා කියලා තියෙනවා. අපේ බුදුන් මధుරස්සරලාභිය පින් ඇත්තේයි විවාද කරන්නා.
So they are like arguing. So it's like when kids are arguing about the mothers.
ඒ වගේ.
Yeah, like my mother is the best mother. No, my mother is the best mother. So, okay.
ඊට පස්සේ
which is like probably potentially very bad, because if you say Samma Sambuddha is like in kind of inferior, it's not good.
ඉතින් නාගසේන හාමුදුරුවෝ ඒ වුණාට තර්ක කරනවා වාද කිරීමක් නේ. ඉතින් නාගසේන මිලිඳු රජුරෝ කියනවා ඉතින් බුදුවරු එක්කෙනෙක් ඉන්නකොට මේ එක ඉරක් පෑවුවා නම් බුදුවරු දෙන්නෙක් ආවහම ඉරවල් දෙකක් පෑවුවා වගේ තව වැඩියෙන් එළිය වෙනවා නේ එක.
But this king Melinda, he was this person who was skilled at these like disputes and arguments. So, but he said like if you consider the light, so like if you have amount of light in 1 hour from like let's say one sun or something like that, but then if you have like twice that amount, then there is more light. So isn't that better situation if you have like two Buddhas, they are kind of shining their light of wisdom more on the world.
හැබැයි නාගසේන හාමුදුරුවෝ කියනවා බුදුවරු දෙදෙනෙක් දරන්න බැරිලු ලෝකෙට.
Actually that's the same situation. So then but Venerable Nagarjuna says it's like it's not possible for the world to bear up the two Buddhas.
ඒක හරියට එක මිනිහෙක්ව ඈතර කරන්න පුළුවන් බෝට්ටුවකට මිනිස්සු දෙන්නෙක් නැග්ගොත් බෑනේ. ආන්නේ වගේ කියලා.
So they say it's like if you have one passenger small boat and two people get on the boat cannot like bear up the weight of these two people.
තවත් උදාහරණයක් තියෙනවා. දැන් කරත් එකට දාන්න පුරුවන් රත්තරන් වගේ දෙගුණයක් කරත් එකට දැම්මොත් කරත් එක කැඩෙනවා. අන්න ඒ වගේ බුදුවරු දෙන්නෙක් දාන්න බෑ ලෝකෙට.
Or like if you have a cart that is it has like some I think it's in English it's called load. So like you can put like this much of weight on it. So they say if you put like let's say 500 kilograms of gold, it can manage, but then if you suddenly put like 1,000, then the cart breaks. So.
ඒ වගේම එහෙනම් බුදුවරු එක්කෙනෙක් මේ දෙන්නෙක් හිටියොත් එහෙම මේ බුදුන් අග්‍රයි, බුදුන් ජේෂ්ඨයි, බුදුන් ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨයි, බුදුන් උත්තමයි, බුදුන් ප්‍රවරයි, බුදුන් අසමසමයි, අපපටි භාගයි, අපපටි පුද්ගලයි කියන ඒ වචන බොරු වෙනවා.
So then, if you know the popular chantings, there are these like adjectives. I think the adjectives used to praise the Buddha, but they are truthful ones. So like he is like the literally top one. He is unique. He is without an equal. He's someone without like counterpart and things. There's like a bunch of these kind of things. But if you have more than one, all of these, I think, epithets of the Buddha become false, because like there is like he's not the top one because there are more top ones and he has an equal and so on.
ඊට පස්සේ මේ තව තියෙනවා දැන් ගොඩාක් විශාල එකක් වුණාම මේ ඒක මේ කොහොමද කියන්නේ ඒකේ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨත්වය. දැන් මුහුදවල් එකයි. මුහුද කියලා එකක් තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ මහ පොළොව කියලා එකක් තියෙන්නේ. අන්න ඒ වගේ එකක් තියෙන එකේ ඒ තියෙන විශේෂත්වය නැති වෙලා යනවා දෙකක් වුණොත්.
Then the next point they give is something like this. There are things that are unique, like one. You can't say you have two, and if you say there are two, they stop being unique, something like that. So they say like there is one sea So I don't know. Can we say, like, let's say Pacific Ocean? There is like one Pacific Ocean. You can't like you consider.
No, those days no Pacific Ocean. Those days just ocean.
Yeah, but now if you say that, people start arguing. Yeah, we have many oceans. So, or they like we can say Earth is one. So
Yes.
if you suddenly have two Earths, then it's like not possible.
ඒ වගේ මේ ගොඩාක් විස්තර තියෙනවා. මම මේ අතර පොඩ
There
කියවන්නේ.
are many more, but the market I'm skipping through them and taking the like important or interesting parts.
But in that statement, usually it is mentioned about life quality, but in this statement, the female and male, it is more kind of about incarnation. But Buddha said there is no incarnation, there is no entity to incarnate. But how it is this sentence is right? I really can understand because after Buddha got enlightened, he announced this Sambuddhata. That means there is no incarnation, but this sentence saying that there is incarnation.
Incarnation means born again, birth again.
I don't have internet, so I couldn't find a proper word, but as I know there is incarnation, that's right. That is born again. It's like for example, I was with monk in the past life, and then I born again, another form, something like that.
Now, according to Buddhism, it is general truth that there is a rebirth. But I don't know exact meaning of the incarnation.
I don't know if
Incarnation also rebirth.
no, but normally incarnation is connected with the religions that believe in the soul, and normally in those explanations they take as the soul is incarnating from one body to another one. That's why the English translators chose the word rebirth, because it doesn't give you idea that something goes from one life to another. Something.
Yeah, that's the point, because if the female cannot be the Sammasambuddha, that means the incarnation, as I understand. Is this how it is interpreted?
Now, according to my understanding, there is no migrating entity from this birth to next birth. Migration is not there, or reincarnation is not happening, but birth happening. Birth happen again and again for the individual. Now, let's say when we die, if we are not fully enlightened people, we have to be born again and again, until we being fully enlightened beings. So this is general truth in Buddhism. It is according to dependent origination. It is according to Paticcasamuppada. Paticcasamuppada explains how one die and born again. Now, as example, when we look at this, then පටිච්චසමුප්පාදයට අනුව අවිද්‍යා සංකාර කියන දෙක හින්දා තමයි මේ ජීවිතේ පළවෙනි විඥානය හටගත්තේ. එතකොට ගිය ආත්මෙ මැරිලා මේ ආත්මෙ උපදිනවා. හැබැයි එකම පුද්ගලයෙක් කියලා කියන්න විදිහක් නැහැ. වෙන අලුත් පුද්ගලයෙක් කියලා කියන්න විදිහකුත් නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ නච්චසෝ නචාඤ්ඤෝ.
So the dependent origination talks about this. So it is because of ignorance and formations in the past life that in this life the first consciousness, the relinking consciousness in the mother's womb arose, but we cannot say it is a completely same person like the previous life kind of entity or individual, but we cannot also say it's completely different. So this is like a quite often quoted thing, not completely same and not completely different.
ඒක මේ අපේ මේ ජීවිතේ වුණත් බලන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට මම උපදිනකොට මම අඩියක් විතර පොඩි එක්කෙනෙක්. මගේ සිතුම් පැතුනුත් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම දැන් හිතන පතන ඒවාට වඩා වෙනස්. හැබැයි දැන් මම අඩි 5මාරක් විතර ලොකුයි. මං හිතන පතන මගේ මානසික තත්ත්වයත් හොඳටම වෙනස්. ඉතින් දැන් ඉන්නේ අර එක්කෙනා නෙවෙයි, උපන් එක්කෙනා නෙවෙයි. හැබැයි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම එයා නොවන්නෙත් නොවේ. එයා ඉපදුන්නේ නැත්තම් දැන් මේ මමත් නැහැ.
So there is this conditionality happening between the like first consciousness in this life and passing away or dying moment in the previous life. There is conditioning happening. We can see this even in this life, like Venerable Dhammarakita, when he was like, I don't know, half a year or something like baby.
No, Bob, at the moment
Born.
of birth.
At the moment of birth, he was like the 1 foot or something, too. I don't know, baby.
One.
1 foot long, small baby with probably almost no hair and baby. So now he's not like that anymore. But you can't say he's a completely like different somebody because that baby was born and there was like food and health and everything going on up to now. Then now there is this version of the Marakita Amdu happening.
ඒ වගේම තමයි දැන් මම මෙහි මැරුණහම ආයි අලුත් එකක් උපදිනවා. හැබැයි අලුත් එකක් නෙවෙයි. දැන් මෙහි තියෙන එකට ගැළපෙන එකක් තමයි උපදින්නේ.
So let's say Dhammarakita Amdu were to die, and then there like might be, or let's say in this case, in this example, then there will be a birth happening, so that newborn being is not completely rare kind of new being. It is kind of matching the situation of the being that passed away.
ඒක හින්දා
Situation
තමයි
means like all kind of things.
ඒක හින්දා තමයි මේ ඕක පැහැදිලි කරගන්න අමාරුකම හින්දා තමයි මේ නච්චසෝ නචඤ්ඤෝ කියන න්‍යාය හඳුන්වලා දෙන්නේ. එයාමත් නෙමෙයි සහ මුලින්ම අලුත් එක්කෙනෙකුත් නෙවෙයි.
So because it's very complex and difficult to explain it, this kind of line, not completely same and not completely different line is given as the explanation for it.
දැන් අපි මේ අර කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙන එක ගැන එතුමිය මොකද්ද කිව්වේ? කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙන්න බැරි කම සහ පටිච්චසමුප්පාදය අතර තියෙන සම්බන්ධය මොකක්ද? ඒ එකක් කිව්වනේ. So anyway, now do you understand we die and born again? So do you understand it is according to the Paticcasamuppada or dependent origination? So what is the connection between that fact and female Buddha? What is the connection? Inability to be a Buddha by a female and this rebirth has any connection?
As I know, female and male is the biology is different.
Female and male biology is different, actually, different. There are no, we can say this with always there are similarities and differences. Now, as example, Buddha is different from all the other beings. Buddha and we, not same. Buddha is same to another Buddha. So in this world, always there are similarities and differences. Samma Sambuddha is not same as us, but he is same as other Samma Sambuddhas. Same way, males are equal to males. They are not equal to females. Females are equal to females, not equal to males. Same way, silent Buddhas are equal to silent Buddhas, not to anybody else.
But that is kind of get rid of the ignorance. How they get rid of ignorance is a kind of simply say the level. But male and female is with the mind that way when it's pain. I don't know what's difference, and then I just know the biology, the physically different.
Physically as well as mentally differences are there. But when we look at the eradication of defilements, Arahants, Buddhas, silent Buddhas, they all are equal because they don't have any defilement in the mind. Other than that, from all the other aspects, they are different to each other.
Yeah, I can understand what they say about the Buddha, Sammasambuddha having that ability, but what is different with that ability between male and female?
Because females can't grow up to the Samma Sambuddha. They can grow up to only Arahants.
At that point, I cannot understand.
Yes, it should happen that way because you can't understand everything. Me can't understand everything. This is a point where you and me can't understand. That's why we have to depend on Buddha's words. Buddha says female can't become a Samma Sambuddha as a female, but if she change to male and practice perfections, then she can attain Buddha as a male. But while living as a female, she can't attain Buddhahood. This is a point you or me not work out properly. That is why we have to depend on the scriptures of the Buddha's words. Now, in this sutta, Buddha says clearly it is impossible female to become Samma Sambuddha, and it is possible male to become Samma Sambuddha. It is Buddha's realization.
And he stops being a like normal human when he becomes the Buddha.
Now, when he become a Buddha, he is Buddha. He is equal to other Buddhas, not to other normal human beings.
So he stops being a normal human being at the enlightenment.
Yes,
Okay.
with the enlightenment, he is not anymore normal being, he is Buddha. Normal human beings means Putujjanas. He is not a Putujjana anymore. He is not an Arahant normal Arahant anymore. He is not Sotapan, he is not Sakadagan, he is not Anagan, he is not Pacheka Buddha. He is Samma Sambuddha. It is different entity. It created different causes. So, because of different causes, the entity called Samma Sambuddha emerged, appeared.
2,500 years ago, the female was like kind of not for the it's like deal with the between the animal and the people is toward the male. So it is a very different society level. It is very different now. So it is possible, and then before before Buddha is like around 3,000 years ago, when Aryan came to India, they made like the level of the people like a caste, something that kind of concept they made because they want to control the people the way what they want. So I just my knowledge, I think it's possible because the background of the era, because woman cannot be educated, woman couldn't learn. That's why it is possible to say like that. But in this era, I really cannot understand.
Now, when we look at that point, Buddha's time, there were many arahants female, many enlightened ladies. So uh, it is possible woman to become arahant, not sammasam, not even Pacheka Buddha, a silent Buddha, not silent Buddha, not Samma Sambuddha, and even not universal monarch, not possible to be a Sakka or the king of the god, not possible to be a Mara, not possible to be a Brahma. There are a lot of impossibilities. If you understand,
Already before Buddha, the Brahman already there because of around 500 years ago they were before than the Buddha. So they made the culture in India. So Brahma is for that caste for the Aryan.
the knowledge of historians, anthropology, archaeology, all other sciences, they are not tally with Buddhism sometimes. So those knowledge we have to keep aside little bit. Now, according to our normal scientific knowledge, human history is just let's say 8,000, 10,000 years maximum. How do you think? Human history,
Religion need to be understood under the background of that era, the time, and the culture.
it is not exactly that way. Even the culture and situation at that time, we learn from our scholars. How we believe our scholars. How we believe our scholars are 100% correct.
But just belief is not useful way to say people to make them understand about the Buddhism and then about that.
Now, as example, this Aryan invasion theory. It's an idea of some scholars. Uh, it may be not correct. Some other scholars oppose to that Aryan invasion theory, and some other scholars analyze Indian society differently. Some scholars say this way, and some others say that way. So we can't cling on. We can't stably stand on scholars' ideas. Now, let's go to my previous question. Now, our human history is just 8,000 years maximum. If it is so, there is not possible to be Buddhas, some other previous Buddhas. Now we have Gautama Buddha. These scriptures belong to him. In these scriptures, our Buddha says there were some other Buddhas in the past, but according to our scholars, our historians, it is not possible. How can we have previous Buddhas if human history is just 8,000, 10,000 years old? If it is true, if it is the case, if it's happened that way, then we can't have previous Buddhas.
But Buddha 2,500 years ago, I don't understand what that is.
I couldn't understand. I couldn't follow you.
I don't understand what Buddha Bante means because 8,000 years is already long time.
Yes.
Buddha said 2,500 years ago.
Okay, now our Buddha lived 2,500 years ago. And there was a Buddha called Kassapa. And before that, there was a Buddha called Konagama, Kakusanda, Vessabu, Siki. There are at least, we know that detail about 28 Buddhas. Where did they live within this 8,000 years? How to answer this question? Now, according to our, let's say, anthropology or historian or archaeologist, uh, there were eras of human development, Stone Age and agriculture age, etc., etc. Uh, this kind of eras are there. If it is true, then there is no possibility to have 28 Buddhas, because time is not enough. To become a Samma Sambuddha, one need to practice perfections, paramis, long time. So that long, enormously long time, unimaginable long time, you have to practice generosity, virtue, renunciation, energy, wisdom, forbearance or the patience, truthfulness, determination, loving kindness, and equanimity. These 10 perfections, at least you have to practice. I don't know that word to translate, how to do it. Sarasanka Kalpalaksha. Many eons you have to practice these wholesome qualities to become a Samma Sambuddha, in order to become a Samma Sambuddha. If human history is 8,000 years, then there is no opportunity to practice perfections at all.
We never know human history is 8,000 years or more.
As you guess how much it is.
We never know.
Okay, let's say not 8,000, 20,000. We decide things, scientists decide things using ruins. So, what is the oldest human ruin available in the world? Man made thing. According to your knowledge, what is the oldest man made, civilized man made thing in the world?
What?
What? We have pyramids. We have some remains of in Indus Valley, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, and we have some ruins in Iraq, Babylon, and Mesopotamia. These are the oldest human creations, but they are old only 6,000 years, 6,700 from today. If you go back, they are not more than 7,000 years old. But within that short period, there is no possibility to have another Buddha. So there is no opportunity to fulfill perfections. Because there no civilization to practice wholesomeness. No civilization existed in order to practice these 10 perfections. That's why Buddha says this civilization or the world system, whatever, arise and disappear, arise and disappear, arise and disappear, arise and disappear. This has no absolute beginning. That's why Buddha has, or the Bodhisattva has, time to fulfill perfections. That's why Bodhisattvas have time to do wholesome deeds to the maximum level. If such incident is not happening, such incident means arising and passing away of universe, arising and passing away of human civilization. If that is not happening, then there is no opportunity to be a Samma Sambuddha for a person.
One thing is, if there was no civilization, there was no opportunity to learn for the people, so they cannot be the Sama Sambuddha.
people can't, a person can't practice wholesomeness.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying because woman didn't have opportunity for a long time, more than 2,000 years, more than the, just in few hundred years we had the opportunity to learn. If the point is, I understood what you said, if it is right, that situation is for the woman. So
Uh,
because no have opportunity, that's why.
Not only women, men and women both did not did not have opportunity to practice wholesomeness. If our civilization is very short, 8-10,000 years is the limit or the size of our civilization, then there is no male or a female to practice uh, to become practice perfections to become Samma Sambuddha. So what I wanted to say is that historians' ideas about human civilization or Indian civilization is not tally with Buddha's words in our scriptures. Buddha's words and the historians' words are very different. But some similarities are there, little similarities, but much differences. Other thing is, after Buddha's passing away, Arahants came together and did Sangha councils. Arahants are people who are not biased. They are pure-hearted persons. Those Arahants uh, collected and handed down this information to us. Non-biased people, pure-hearted people. So they don't want to harm woman at all. They don't want to harm any person. So Arahants recorded Buddha's words and handed down to our hand. So those Arahants' scriptures have these ideas. What are the ideas? Woman can't become a Buddha. This is not my idea. This is the ideas given to us by Arahants. And there were no any opportunity anybody else to interfere this literature because Arahants took over the authority about the literature. They did first Sangha Council, second Sangha Council, third Sangha Council, and fourth Sangha Council. At the time of fourth Sangha Council, they written down the scriptures, and after written down, this information available everywhere in Theravada Buddhist countries. Now, if you look at the same sutta in Myanmar edition, you find same line. If you look at the Thai one or the Cambodian one or Laos one, these same lines are there in those books.
Yeah, when I was in Myanmar in meditation center, it was the first time I heard about that, so I was shocked.
Ah, yes.
Because in Korea, I never heard about that, and quite different. It's what Buddha said, that's the virtue is the same, of course, but the way of explaining and also the background, the culture is different. So because Mahayana Buddhism is not emphasized like level here, like Arahant. It's more ecology itself. We are all same. We say even animal, the nature is all same. It's like the circulation we emphasize, and then we are learning like that. And then when after I came here, hear Theravada Buddhism is more focused on the realizing the Arahant and the level. And then when I heard that female cannot be the Sambuddha in Myanmar, what?
But what to do? That's the thing said in our scriptures, and our scriptures given to us by elders, arahants. We have to accept it. There's no any other solution for that. So you have to adjust your mind to accept this fact, this truth. Because adjusting towards better is the path. We always adjusting our mind, adjusting until reach the final pure mental state. So this is a fact. You have to absorb to your mind. Mm. Mm. Oh, දැන් මේ වගේ දේවල් එහෙම කරුණු සලකලා බලලා තර්ක කරලා වාද කරලා තේරුම් ගන්න ඕන දේවල් නෙමෙයි. මේවා ශ්‍රද්ධාවෙන් පිළිගන්න ඕන දේවල්. ඔව්. දැන් බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ බුද්ධද නැද්ද කියලා අපි කොහොමද ඒක පරීක්ෂා කරන්නේ? බුදුහාමුදුරන්ට අහවල් ඥාන තිබුණා කියලා කොහොමද අපි පරීක්ෂා කරන්නේ? කොහොමද අපි ස්ටඩි කරන්නේ? කොහොමද අපි ඇනලයිස් කරන්නේ? එහෙම විදියක් නැහැ. එහෙම විදියක් නැතිකම හින්දා තමයි ශ්‍රද්ධාව කියලා එකක් අපිට තියෙන්න ඕන. ශ්‍රද්ධාව නැත්තම් මේ ගමන යන්න බැරි ඒකයි. අපිට තේරෙන්නේ නැති හින්දා. අපි තේරෙන අය නම් සම්පූර්ණ හිත පිරිසිදු අය නම් ශ්‍රද්ධාවක් ඕනේ නැහැ. තේරෙන්නේ නැති අය අපි බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ තේරෙන එක්කෙනා අය මේ රහතුන් වහන්සේලා තේරෙන අය කියලා පිළිගත්තොත් අපිට යන්න ගමනක් තියෙනවා, වැඩක් තියෙනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි දන්න පොඩ්ඩක් කර ඉන්නවා ඒක තැන. So there is this important mental quality called faith. If you can't understand something, that is the occasion you need faith. So if you can't understand that fact that woman can't become a Samma Sambuddha, that is the occasion you need faith. How? Faith. Yes, F-A-T-H, faith. Oh. How you generate faith? In this middle length discourses, handed down by the Arahants, mention that woman can't attain Buddhahood. That fact you have to believe, accept. Other than that, there's no any other solution. If you try to argue, no, woman can become Buddha. If you say that way, then you have to prove it. But it is not possible to prove because there are no any name of female Buddha.
But we never know who is the arahant.
No, this is not the problem of arahant. Okay, what you are going to say?
Some people might show an arahant, but some people will not say anything, just it is hiding. So
No.
we never know all arahants.
Now we according to our scriptures, we know Venerable Mahakassapa was an arahant. Ananda, Nanda, Rahula, they are arahants. And 500 arahants came together and did this first Sangha Council. 500 arahants. This is a fact. You have to believe, you have to accept. And then 700 arahants came together and did second Sangha Council after 100 years of Buddha's passing away. This is a fact. We have to accept using the faith. That's the way we activate our faith, activate our devotion. If we don't have faith, then we can't go go forward along this path. Now here, eh?
Sorry to interrupt. May I share something?
Yes, good.
Yes. I just wanted to. I'll try to keep this brief. I just came here yesterday. I'm a visitor from the United States, and I've been very touched actually by the generosity of the Sri Lankan people, and also very Bahudhatuka, the community here. And so I've been listening to the discussion and questions and answers today. I do want to say that, again, I apologize. I don't want to say something to create maybe some more confusion, but I do want to share my experience. There's actually many things that I myself, even after ordaining as a Buddhist monk 10 years ago, that I wasn't sure about, that I didn't know. And this includes things that are actually quite core to being a Buddhist, you could say, having right view. And this is, the nature of karma and the results of karma, this life and the next life. I could make sense of it, but I couldn't, for myself, say this is absolutely true. But I decided to become a Buddhist monk anyways. And in fact, I devoted a huge amount of my life to trying to practice the Buddhist teachings, primarily to free myself from suffering and to free others from suffering. I feel like that is actually the reason why I'm doing this. And so, actually, not knowing is actually quite important, not to, how do you say, from my perspective, from my experience, it doesn't have to be something that we reject. It doesn't have to be something that we say, well, I don't know that I must have faith. Actually, that's not what happened with me. It was actually the willingness to be with the unknown. That's actually the basis for the faith that I experienced. I hope that makes sense. It wasn't, in other words, it wasn't that I generated faith and then I moved on. It was, I was willing to be with something I didn't know. Actually, at the time, my reading of the first council of Bhante, there was actually, I don't know if you recall, I can't remember the name of the monk, but after Ananda gave the recitation of the suttas, there was one monk that said something to the effect of, "That was wonderful, Ananda, but I'm going to remember the Buddha's words as I heard it." That's an example, actually, of two arhats having, how do you say, a different understanding of the Dhamma and the Buddhist teachings. In addition to that, Ananda was grilled at the first council. It didn't say who exactly, but many of the arhats were quite upset with Ananda for many things. And if you read the accounts, eventually, the last thing they were quite upset with Ananda with was the fact that he asked the Buddha to help. I can't remember the exact details, but basically, they seemed upset that Ananda wanted to help the bhikkhunis and the
Mahaprajapati.
Bahudhatuka. And so even at the first council, there was actually some amount of disagreement. Yeah. So I'm not really sure, from my perspective, that I would see disagreement or differences of view things as, how you say, sort of, it makes it impossible. Some people, the way that they practice, the way they see things, they want everything to be very, how do you say, clear, structured. This is what the Buddha said, and as it was actually exactly this way. But there's many other people with different ways of approaching the world in approaching life. And my experience, having visited many different Buddhist settings and many practitioners, is that there's many other ways of practicing and developing in the Buddhist way. Because primarily what we're trying to do is we're trying to reduce the basis for suffering, which is, as we know, is greed, hatred, and delusion. But this is not easy, right? This is not easy. So if what Bhante says is conducive, okay, you know, you can pick it up. But if it's not, I would just maybe say you don't have to pick it up the same way that he does. There are many other practitioners that understand things differently, and I say this because I don't want to have somebody be discouraged from trying to free their own heart from suffering. Hopefully that makes sense. I really want everybody here to apply themselves as best they can in the reasons why they came here, which is ostensibly to learn how to be happier, more at ease, until we can be completely free, completely happy, completely at ease. So again, I apologize for taking so much time, but I felt like I needed to share that.
ඔව් දැන් මම මෙහෙම කියන්න කැමතියි. දැන් අපිට දුක අවසන් කරගන්න නම් ඕනි මේ ප්‍රශ්නය ගැන එහෙනම් අනිත් පැත්තත් අතහරින්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. මොකක්ද අනිත් පැත්ත කියන්නේ? කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙන්න ඕනේ, බුදු විය යුතුයි කියන අදහස අරන් ඉන්නත් ඕනේ. කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙන්න බෑ කියලා පොතේ තියනවා කියලා දැනන් හිටියාම ඇති. අන්න ඒ තරමට මධ්‍යස්ත වෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් හොඳයි.
So Dhammarakita wanted to add this. It is true we are striving for the end of suffering. So the way you can take it is first, like, this information is in the book, and there is no argument about it because it's printed there, so we can take it, okay, it's in the book. And do we need a female Buddha? That one is also not social because I don't know. It's not about.
දැන් අපිට අපි ඒ පැත්තේ ඉන්න හිත ගන්නත් බෑ.
Because we.
කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙනවා කියන මතේ ඉන්නත් අපිට බෑ. මේ කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපිට කියන්න විදියකුත් නැහැ. මේ කොහොමද කියන්නේ? කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙන්න බෑ කියන එක පොතේ තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙනවා කියලා මොකුත් පොතක නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒකින්ද අපි ඒ මතේ තදින් ගන්නත් හොඳ නැහැ. මේක තේරුම් ගන්න බැරි නම් දැනට පස්සේ කාලෙක ඒ ගැන කටයුතු කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැනට තමන්ගේ භාවනාව හෝ මොකක් හරි කරගෙන යනවා.
So just if I understood correctly, it's like this. We just can stick to the bare facts. So in the books we have report of male Buddhas and no female Buddhas, and in these few places here and there it is stated it cannot happen. This is what's written in their book, which is like we can't discuss about it because it's really written in the book, and we don't have power to know about this or decide about that, so we just keep it, no, okay, this is in the book, and I just do my own practice as far as I can. Later on I might find something about this fact or not, but I can just continue with my own practice.
ඒ වගේම අරකට දැනන් ඉන්න ඕන. කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙච්ච බවට කිසිම සාක්ෂියක් පොත්වල නැහැ. ඒක මගේ මතයක් විතරයි.
Also the idea that there are female Buddhas or there is possibility for female Buddhas is not anywhere available. It's my own idea that I'm like pushing forward or like holding on to. So holding on to anything strongly is anyway not good. So just like this is in the book, this is my idea, and then I go my practice.
ඔව් එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන් දැනට. හැබැයි මම පෞද්ගලික දැන් ඔන්න මගේ ධම්මරක්කිත හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ අදහස.
So then comes the Dhammarakita Hamdu's idea.
My idea is කාන්තාවක් බුදු වෙන්නේ පිරිමියෙක් තමයි බුදු වෙන්නේ.
And that is your idea. So Dhammarakita's personal idea is, it's only only males that become the Buddhas, so not females. And he knows this is his personal idea.
මම පෞද්ගලික අදහස මගේ පෞද්ගලික අදහස මම ඇති කරගෙන තියෙන මජ්ක්‍ධිම නිකායත් අංගුත්තර නිකායත් අභිධර්ම විභංග ප්‍රකරණයත් කෙරෙහි මට ශ්‍රද්ධාව තියෙන හින්දා.
So it's based on knowing the scriptures and having belief in them. So it's my idea. Or like Dhammarakita's idea.
ඔව්. ඒ විනීතාන්ගේ අයිඩියා නෙවෙයි.
No, I'm translating it. I'm not talking about my idea, because that would complicate things too much. I am mostly worried about myself most of the time, so I don't have that much time to worry about these things.
නෑ දැන් මෙහෙමයි ඉතින් මේවා ගැන වොරි වෙන්න ඕන කියන්නේ මේ ත්‍රිපිටකය පවත්වාගෙන ආවේ භික්ෂුන් වහන්සේලා. මහන්සියලා ත්‍රිපිටකය අරගෙන ආවේ. ඒක ඒ පිරිසිදුවට. ඉතින් භික්ෂුන් වහන්සේලාගේ වගකීම තමයි වැරදි අදහස් බුද්ධ ශාසනයට එකතු වෙන්න නොදී ඉන්න එක. ඉස්සර භික්ෂුන් වහන්සේලා එහෙම කරපු හින්දායි දැන් අපිට මේ ගානට මේවා ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙම කළා නම් එහෙනම් අපිත් අර මහායාන හරි වජ්‍රයාන හරි ගොඩාක් වැරදි අදහස් එක්ක තමයි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් අද දවසට අපි මෙතනින් නතර කරනවා. හැම දිනාටම තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
So that's it for today, my